This Ag News Update brought to you by American Implement, indebted to the past, committed to the future. In a moment, we meet the new chairman of the National Sorghum Producers.
S&S Trailer Sales, with 2 locations in Ness City, Kansas, is where everybody goes to buy or rent trailers. They feature the all-new, all-aluminum Mauer grain trailer with all of the electric options, the easy-to-load detached trailers, and a huge stock of header trailers. At the west location, you'll find bumper poles, goosenecks, and oilfield specialty trailers, along with flat and utility beds for pickups. S&S Trailer Sales in Ness City and on the web, but remember, you do have to spell out the "and." When you've had a best friend for over 50 years, you develop a trust. And the Scott Co-op has been a trusted rural friend since 1957. A co-op keeps money in the area, doing business for and with their members. And that helps keep their hometown thriving with keeping money in the community. Scott Co-op is not just an elevator. It's the rural way of doing business. So, when you see an elevator, remember your friends at Scott Co-op.
And joining us is the chairman of the National Sorghum Producers, a Texas farmer, Cody Carson. I knew I'd mess that one up. First one out of the box. All right, Carson. I'll start this again. Take 2 in 3, 2, 1. And joining us now is the chairman of the National Sorghum Producers, a Texas farmer, Cody Carson. Good morning, Cody.
Good morning, King. Glad to be with you.
Well, thanks for taking time to visit with us. And, as harvest wrapped up, but now a while back, farmers are taking an assessment of how things went this growing season into the fall. And the bright spot on many folks' ledger were those that had sorghum a part of their operation.
Well, that's true. We're seeing basis at historic levels for sorghum, and for those that had a good crop, it's actually been a great silver lining for them. Across the sorghum belt, I would say yields were decent or good in a lot of spots. There were particular drouthy spots, though, that got hit really hard and aren't able to take advantage of this, and I happen to be one of those. We've had almost no moisture in the past 12 months, and I know western Kansas, I visited with some growers there that are in the same situation, and so we're optimistic for next year's crop. It looks like there's going to be a good demand all the way through, and if we can continue this basis, be a very positive thing for the sorghum belt.
It is something that you and other farmers, leaders, as well as the checkoff side, have worked on increasing that basis level, and now to where it is very competitive with corn.
Well, National Sorghum Producers has been very effective in the use of their manpower and the checkoff dollars to develop markets. Not only are we seeing, the resurgence of the demand in China, which is where the bulk of U.S. sorghum goes, but we are making some great inroads into Vietnam. They're using a lot of U.S. sorghum for aquaculture. And then with sorghum being a non-GMO and a gluten-free product, it's just a natural fit in today's food market for the U.S. consumer. We're seeing it used in energy bars and snack foods and salads. It's really a neat time to be involved with the sorghum industry.
It is. You're exactly right. And I do, in our second segment, want to talk a little bit about the research and how that's increased. But you bring up a good point in looking at now the food grade and how food has really taken off, and where sorghum is really becoming competitive with, say, quinoa and other things as one of those side dishes to work good with almost any protein.
You took the words out of my mouth. Quinoa is one place that sorghum, it has a lot of the same qualities and a lot of the same fits as far as in the food industry. There's a snack food that my family absolutely loves called Pops, and it's similar to a Cheeto that's made out of sorghum, and a really good snack food.
Cody Carson is the chairman of the National Sorghum Producers. He's a Texas farmer. We're going to take a break and come back with more in just a moment.
Would you like to see something done about high gas prices and low unemployment? Western Plains Energy in Campus, Kansas is doing something about it. They're a proud part of Growth Energy, America's ethanol supporters, and they employ 38 people and will be adding more following the expansion. Ethanol fuel not only reduces the cost of regular gasoline, it's good for the environment and keeps money right here in the United States while supporting local rural jobs. Western Plains Energy, doing something for the future.
The cost of everything has gone up dramatically over the last 75 years. With one exception: keeping electricity affordable.
Wheatland Electric, delivering energy for life, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
And our guest is Cody Carson, who is a Texas farmer and the chairman of the National Sorghum Producers. And obviously, we look at sorghum, we look at all those good things, and it has become, once again, a very hot commodity in the trade. And I guess what probably brings some optimism, Cody, it's more than just China. Worked very hard to find those other markets, because we all know sometimes China's all in or sometimes they're all out.
Well, it's just like with any commodity, and I don't know any farmer that's a monoculture. You know, we all have eggs, several eggs in our basket, and that's the problem with counting on China so much, is while they're a great market for U.S. sorghum, you hate to put all your eggs in one basket. And sorghum doesn't need to. We have so many great qualities that if we can get into the markets, we'll hold our own. One place that sorghum is really performing well, and there's a lot of research going on through K-State, through the NRCS, the DOE, and it's kind of a buzzword, but sorghum has been on the edge of this for all of its life, is sustainability. You know, sorghum is a water conserving crop. It produces a great amount of carbon in the soil for what it does. It's very drought tolerant and flexible with climate. It's a very patient crop. If we're in a drought, it'll sit and wait. If we get rains, it'll perform to its maximum, whereas some other crops don't fit that mold as well. So it's a great fit for most of us farmers in the Central Plains. I just think sustainability, while the urban people are using that as a buzzword, we as farmers have been doing it for centuries and for generations. We want to be sustainable. And as the Ogallala continues to decline and other aquifers, we have to be cognizant of best use for all of our surface water. I think that sorghum is just a natural fit. And if we can get the qualities of this commodity spread and get everyone to understand the benefits of it, I think sorghum has a bright future ahead of it.
Well, let's talk about that. You brought up the sustainability word and trying to find the right traits, and that's one thing that's happened over the last at least dozen years or almost dozen years, is more emphasis and more dollars have been committed to research to grow, in a sense, a better sorghum plant.
Well, I think that's one reason sorghum is lagging behind some other crops, because of the small amount of seed that's planted per acre and the smaller number of total acres in the U.S. The research dollars just have not been spent to develop the sorghum plant, as we've seen in corn and cotton and even soybeans to a lesser degree. There's just a huge potential there with breeding, and especially with the CRISPR technology that's come along. It allows some genes to be not edited, but to be accentuated or turned on or off. And I think that the most exciting thing probably in sorghum is the over-the-top herbicides that are now coming. I think that's going to be a game changer. In the past, that's sugarcane aphid in the last few years, and then over-the-top weed control have been two of the biggest negatives for sorghum. And we're addressing both of those issues, you know, as we speak, getting those behind us.
Well, Cody, we appreciate the update, and good luck as you work through this whole pandemic situation, leading one of the ag commodity groups. So we look forward to continuing these conversations and talk about the good things going on in the world of sorghum. So thanks for your time.
Glad to be with you as always. Thanks, Ken.
Cody Carson, who is a Texas farmer and the chairman of the National Sorghum Producers, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more in just a moment.
Wolfter Construction and Irrigation has been around a long time, and a lot of folks have trusted them to design, build, and service all sizes of commercial and on-farm storage for grain and equipment. Wolfter is also known for their outstanding irrigation division, where they stock a complete selection of nozzles, regulators, drops, gear drives, electrical, and structure components. Looking for an electric motor? Wolfter has a large selection in single and three-phase. Next time, reach out to the pros who have decades of experience at taking care of business the right way. Wolfter Construction and Irrigation.
1030 KBUF has agriculture programming throughout the day, beginning with Agriculture Today and Tony St. James a little bit after 6, plus featured interviews with newsmakers, along with market updates, news from the world of agriculture, and that all-important weather. You can also be social with us on Facebook and Twitter. And remember, you can listen to any Southwind broadcasting station online at westernkansasnews.com. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching.